Did social media predict Donald Trump's win? Hi, I'm Dean Seddon, CEO and founder of Maverick, and I help you master social selling so you can build your brand and win clients. So many people were surprised about the win of Donald Trump last week. I know a lot of people on the internet, it broke the internet, and a lot of people, there was a ton of videos on TikTok of people crying. But I think the internet was predicting Donald Trump and his win and the scale of his win. Now, all the polls said it was neck and neck, but it turned out to be a bit of a landslide. Compared to other elections, it was a landslide. But I think we can actually see this happening. And I want to just talk for a minute about the comparison between Donald Trump's reach and Kamala Harris's reach. So I'm on Donald Trump's YouTube, and we'll ignore the politics of this for today. I'm just looking at which one had the most impact, and I'm going to talk about the impact of influencers and third parties. If we look at Donald Trump's YouTube's channel, we can see that he easily pulls in 60, 70,000. But then when we look at he went crazy doing YouTube lives all the time with hundreds of thousands of people watching these lives. And he did them every single day. Every single day, live on YouTube, 100,000 plus people watching. It's nuts. Let's look at Kamala Harris's YouTube. So here we are. And 76,000, 53,000, 129,000, 23,000, 40,000. She's getting nowhere near the numbers. And even when we look at the lives, she had one here at 343,000, one at 142, one at 500,000. Her numbers are nowhere near Donald Trump when you stack them all up. But the other thing that's really interesting as well, and this is only in retrospect, I want to show you the final stats 2 weeks later after Donald Trump's podcasting spree. He got 48 million views on YouTube, and some people were complaining that the reach was capped on this because it was hard to find. But 48 million views in 2 weeks, and that's not counting Spotify and all of that stuff. Now, if you look at the same runs for Kamala, she got nowhere near those numbers. So I think social media called it right. I think YouTube actually called it right, that there was a runaway train for Donald Trump, but that the media and the pollsters had not caught onto. And I wonder if there's any truth in what Donald Trump said about how polling, he was alleging that the polling, they take your money and don't do any work. But I wonder if there's any truth into the fact that the polling cannot reach a lot of the demographics that they need to. And they may not be able to figure out who those demographics are. But if you look and you go, how many times have you been polled? How many times has somebody reached out to you and asked you what your voting intention is? And I think it's going to be harder and harder for pollsters to basically judge how somebody's going to win. But you look at the social media, YouTube, for an example, look at those kind of consumption figures and you go, this was way out of whack. Now, one final interesting thing which is fascinating, is Kamala Harris brought out a load of celebrities to back her campaign. Now, it's turned out she paid for them, and I'm sure Trump paid for his too. But she paid for them. But the combined endorsements she had from celebrities equates to more than 2 billion followers. So your Beyoncés, your Oprahs, your Lady Gagas, your Taylor Swifts, all of those 2 billion followers. Yet they didn't come out in the numbers to get her over the line. Why is this? And why did the podcasting people do it versus the celebrity people do it? Well, I think the really interesting thing is the types of followers that those people have got. Oprah, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, they have followers for their own craft. If you look at the podcasters, they've built an audience around their personalities, yes, but actually around who their guests are and getting to know their guests. And I know I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've been introduced to people that I'd never heard of before, and now I follow them and engage with them and listen to what they share. So I think that's the difference here. The difference is podcasters, you listen not just for the hosts, but for the guests, where a lot of these celebrities, you're only interested in them, and pretty much anything else you're not interested in. So it'll make this really interesting to see how this plays out in the next run when, Donald Trump will be leaving. Can anybody build an audience like him? And maybe I'm going to dig into a little bit about how did Donald Trump pull off this huge personal brand that seems to get him loads of fans and loads of enemies. So I'm going to break that down in a future video. But what do you think? Do you think podcasts swung it for Donald Trump? And what do you think about the celebrity endorsements and how that didn't translate into a win for Kamala Harris? I'd love to know your thoughts. Tell me in the comments.